on, Josh.
Young, what, 22 years old?
Yeah, you got to learn, man.
But let's talk about the quarterback across from him and Deshaun Watson and how superb. How impressed were you with what he did yesterday?
It's funny because I'm not impressed. I mean, I know what kind of player he is. I've been watching him ever since he was at Clemson. But his mentality is really what impresses me. The fact that no matter what happens in the beginning of the game, when
it was a slow first half.
Yeah, he
for
wasn't
him
spectacular.
Yeah.
And then he comes back in the fourth quarter, and that mindset where he is just on that level, and you can see he's ready to perform. He's ready to be at his best. And you can see his teammates realizing that. And I played with a quarterback in Eli Manning, who no matter what happens in the first couple of quarters, if it comes down to the fourth quarter and we have a chance to win, he's 100% on board. And that's what I think when I see Deshaun Watson. Man, this is a guy that, I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks I've seen in a long time, young quarterbacks, and I'm excited to watch him play. And the only reason why I wanted the Houston Texans to win this game is because I wanted to see him play again next week. And that's how I judge quarterbacks. Do I want to see him play? Would I pay to see him play?
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh.
For me, listening to you and then watching Deshaun Watson, I go all the way back to when Dabo Swinney said, "This is the closest thing to Michael Jordan that I've ever seen." And when you watch Deshaun Watson play, now he's not Michael Jordan, but his mentality, which is what you're mentioning, it's like he never falters. He never wavers. He's one of those guys that he can be down, but he's such a playmaker and he's such a player, and he's so mobile and he's so accurate outside the pocket, he can make you pay. It brings me to this point. The NFL has moved on from that pocket passing quarterback. That pocket passing quarterback, standing duck, is getting left in the wanes.
Sure.
And it's because of
right?
It's because of guys like Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen. These guys can extend the plays, but they can still make plays down the field. Deshaun Watson can do it with the best of them. He had an electric game. And again, you said this earlier, he needed this. He needed this based on what they experienced last year. And even when you look at his duels against Patrick Mahomes and against Lamar Jackson, he needed to win a big game against a really good team.
Sacked 7 times, slow first half, and was able to do what he did despite his head coach.
Listen, yeah, he's spectacular. He is. He should have been. Well, and we'll talk about that in a second.
No one's better at the tee up.
He should have been the #1 pick of the draft the year he came out.
Absolutely.
And he was not even discussed as #1 pick. Now, in revisionist history, we'll say Patrick Mahomes should have been the #1 pick. Patrick Mahomes is one of my favorite athletes ever. Who plays for my favorite team. When the Chiefs traded up in that draft, I thought they were trading up for Deshaun. I was devastated when they didn't. I was like, this guy from Texas Tech. So, like, Mahomes turned into this. Deshaun's always been this.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was the 3rd quarterback taken, the fact that he was not even discussed for the #1 overall pick, it's lunacy. And he's proven it every single week of his career. When he first came into the NFL, coming in at halftime of week 1, because Bill O'Brien didn't want to start a rookie. Instead, he started Tom Savage.
Yes.
And then he immediately goes on a record-breaking 6-game stretch.
Yeah.
Then he blows out his knee in practice. Last year, with the worst offensive line in football, carries them to the postseason. But then in the postseason, when the coaching matters more, they get depantsed by Frank Reich and the Indianapolis Colts. Then this year, looked like same damn thing's going to happen again, because Sean McDermott and the Bills really had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. They didn't have a bye, but they were locked into the 5 seed 2 weeks ago. The Texans were essentially locked into the 4 seed 2 weeks ago, so they knew what was coming. And for the first 2.5 quarters, it looked like it. It looked like Bill O'Brien's been in the lab for 2 weeks doing whatever the hell he does. Sean McDermott's been in the lab for 2 weeks, and the Bills are going to run away with this game, and it's going to be an indictment on this kid. And instead, he runs for a touchdown on a brilliant play. Gets a 2-point conversion with his legs on a brilliant play. And in the 4th quarter and overtime, he's 10 for 11 with a 149 passer rating, and the single best play I bet we'll see the whole postseason. You said it earlier. This is impossible. And he's had a number of plays like this in his career already. Texans fans will lament them, where he's been called in the grasp, where he has spun out of it, but the play's already been whistled dead. If he goes down, I think they lose. It's now 3rd and forever. They're probably punting, and the Bills are going to get the ball back. 2 guys willed the Texans to victory. J.J. Watt, the best player in the history of the franchise, and Deshaun Watson, the best quarterback in the history of the franchise. And the players deserved to overcome their coaching, and they did it. And I used to live down there, so I have a lot of friends that are Texans fans. I'm happy for them because they deserved this victory based on the brilliance of that young man and J.J. Watt alone.
And Amani, we talk so much about intangibles when it comes to the football player. J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson. J.J. Watt before the game coming out and saying, I may not be 100%. I'm giving you 100% of everything in my DNA for this game. And we heard after the game that Deshaun Watson at halftime said, enough is enough. I'm going to take this game on. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to stay up, and I'm going to help us will this game. How important is it that two guys like that are able to be on a team, again, despite whatever mistakes head coaches make and despite everything they did in the first half?
Absolutely, because momentum is, it's contagious, right? And you want your best players, when the times get tough, in games, which inevitably they do, to step up and say, hey, look, follow me. I'm going to be there. I'm going to take all the responsibility. It's not going to be because of me. I'm not scared of the situation, and that's what you need in a leader, and that's why he's been successful everywhere he's been, because of that attitude. And I could see how Dabo Swinney would call him the Michael Jordan, because of the mentality and how he wills his team to win. Playing against Alabama in the national championship 2 times in a row, just dominating
and the best
both times.
Both times.
It was incredible.
And the spark that lit the fire for the comeback was J.J.'s sack. JJ looked like he was really just there almost for an inspirational lift early on. Didn't look like it was going to be his play. And then in the second half, he came on strong for a great moment for him and a great moment for the team.
But for Deshaun, the game, clearly not too big for him. So time now for Put a Grade on It, sponsored by Conrax. We'll stick with Deshaun, who did it all in the win. The Texans quarterback finished 20 of 25, 247 yards, a touchdown to go along with 55 yards on the ground. And another score. So, Nick, start with you. Put a grade on Deshaun's performance.
I give him an A+, and if any of these guys disagree with me, I'm walking off the set. I don't care that it was a slow start.
Yeah.
He was down 16-0 on a playoff game, came back, and it was because of his brilliance. I give him an A+.
I'll give him an A- because of the fact that he didn't start off as quickly. But
go, Nick.
The fact that he, came through at the end, you can't discredit the fact that he started at a slow start.
I'm going to give him a B. No, I'm going to give him an A. I'm definitely giving him an A with his ability to overcome what is in front of him with his own offensive line and what's coming at him and what he was able to do, down 16, and then the play of what potentially could be of the playoffs. He's a special player, man, just special player.
All right, good stuff. Monty, we'll see you a little bit later on the show. Coming up.
Don't leave, Nick. Don't leave.
Has Tom Brady played his last snap in the NFL? Next, first things first.
It's 2 months of the year. I mean, they're 4-5 now, or they were 4-5. This season's now over. The last 9 games of the year, they played a quality opponent. They couldn't get to 17 points. Now, it is the first game all year they've lost when holding an opponent to 17 or less. They were 12-0 in those spots, 0-4 when the opponent scores more than 17. Defense did its job. Well, you know what? Actually, I was thinking the game ended 14-13. The stat remains because the Titans did get that touchdown at the end, 20-13.
Yeah.
So the defense held them under, but the offense gave the touchdown. I forgot about the touchdown at the end. Defense did its job until the single biggest play of the game. Belichick didn't trust Brady enough to let him go for a 3rd and 4, 2 plays after the Edelman drop, punts it away, believing we're going to sell out against the run on 1st and 2nd down, force them into a pass on 3rd down, I imagine is what he's thinking. He got exactly that. And then Harvard grad Ferkser, who I was not that familiar with, I'm being honest, prior to his touchdown early in the game, makes the play on Ryan Tannehill's 8th completion of the night. And that was it. Like, that was all she wrote. So how did they get in that position? Well, 2 players. Derrick Henry was sensational, what looked like Earl Campbell, and Tom Brady looked like an old man. Tom Brady, and I understand he's receivers. He could have, you guys both won Super Bowls playing wide receiver. He could have used either one of you guys, not necessarily in your prime. I'm talking about just literally on Saturday. Come out there and help out if you can. Yeah. But 7 of 21 for 68 yards on passes to receivers. All Brady's yards came on those little dump-offs, screen passes, and guys running. So the Patriots offense, after good drives, 2 of their first 3, died. And the defense played well, but did not score. They didn't get a special team score, and they needed that jolt in order to be able to overcome the Titans.
Yeah, usually this team wins because of defense, and usually because of special teams. Their defense let them down woefully. I mean, Henry having 160-plus yards, that you're not going to win many games in the NFL if you let that happen. Home, away, it doesn't matter if you have Tom Brady or, Joe Montana. If you can't stop the run, it starts to unravel. And when you look at the way that on the outside, you look at the receivers, and it's just, like you said, nobody's ever won the Kentucky Derby on a donkey. You need the horses, and they don't have any horses on the outside. Edelman is a respectable receiver, good receiver, but you got to get guys on the outside to open up the defense so that Edelman can do his stuff and work in the middle, and that's just not happening. With Gronk out, they just don't have what it takes to beat the upper echelon teams consistently.